Hello friends. So I'm Dr. Sandeep Kumar Sharma. So now we will go to the topic that what we have to study regarding embryology and genetics, as we were discussing in last class. So I have discussed with you, all of you, regarding the different types of terminologies what are used in embryology. So now we will move to the next points whatever are there. So you remember that I am using book of Inderveer Singh, embryology book. So in from that book only I am giving you the class details. So what are the basic qualities of living organism? So whenever a organism or a creature in the world is living, so what will be the basic qualities of life? So first one you can see over here, it is protection. So protection from different environmental conditions, it may be heat, cold, rain, or anything. So whatever a life is there, you can see if any organism like we or any animal or creature, so it will try itself to make itself safe from any like cold, heat, whatever are the environmental changes. So again the second point is growth. So along with protection, it will try to physical and mental growth, like increase in height and weight will be the physical growth, and increase in the mental capacities, it will be intelligence, social behavior, etc, etc. So it will try in growth for by the proper nutrition, it may be, or customs or practices in the society. And third one is the propagation of species. So it is a common thing that any life being, it will try to replicate itself, means it will try to propagate, means it will try its species to reproduce. By that the next generations will come. So what the process for this reproduction is necessary, that whatever the reproduction is possible, so it will be studied in the embryology textbook. Okay, so reproduction. So what is the reproduction? So the common question, what is reproduction? So reproduction is a mechanism to produce new generation continuously. Okay, so for reproduction, vertebrates, so we animals and we are all vertebrates, so I think there is no clarification is needed. So we all are vertebrates. So there should be two sexes, one male and one female. So whenever these two sex characters are available, so they will again take place, there will be a reproduction. Okay, so the internal sex organs like gonads and internal sex organs, what are the gonads, which produce gametes in both of the sex. Okay, so what is gonad and gametes? So it will be like a cycle, so one and one term will be there, so you will be going on understanding the next terms. Okay, so what is gonad? So gonad are the paired sex glands. So you keep in mind that paired means they are two in number, and they are responsible for the production of gametes or sex cells. Gametes are sex cells that carry out the special function of reproduction. So the male sex cells like spermatozoa are produced in the male gonads, and the female sex cells like ova, they are produced in female gonads. So here it is clear that male gonads are testes and female gonads are ova or ovary, you can say. So what are the gametes are produced is sperm and ovum. So the process which is producing sperms is called as spermatogenesis, and the process which is necessary to production of ovum, that process is called oogenesis. You keep in mind these terms. Okay, so the development of a new individual begins at the moment when one male gamete, means it is sperm or spermatozoon. So it is called as spermatozoon. Single sperm is called as spermatozoon. So when it meets and fuses with one female gamete, so it is ovum or oocyte. So the process of fusion of male and female gamete is called fertilization. So what is fertilization? whenever male and female gamete fusion occurs, that process will be called as fertilization. Next, so the zygote multiplies and reorganizes to form the miniature new individual called embryo that grows and matures as fetus in the mother's womb, or womb is called as uterus. So at the delivery time it will be called as term pregnancy. So it is completely cycle. So we will try to understand this in this diagram also. So you can see in diagram, you see once. So whenever fertilization takes place, so the zygote will be at the day 1 and one germ disc will be formed up to early 3rd week. Okay, up to 3rd week. Early 3rd week means, I told you in last class that 1 week is called as 4 week. So prior to 1 week completion, germ disc will form and embryo will be formed from 3rd to 8th week, and again fetus will form from 9th week to 9 months. So up to the period of 9 months, the fetus inside the uterus will be called as the production of mass conception is there, so it will be called as fetus. So again the birth will take place. Up to birth, the period which is called as prenatal period, and from birth to the age of 28 days of the fetus or baby, it will be called as neonatal period. And after 28 days of the period, so the baby will be called as newborn. So these are the terms you should know as per the ontogeny. Okay, so after 28 days of life, a fetus will be called as newborn, and the infant, it will be up to 1 year. From 2 to 12 year, it will be called a child. 2 to 12 year, 2 to 12 year, it will be called as puberty. Adolescent will be called as 16 to 20 years. Adult will be called as So the development of the human being we were discussing. So adult is from 20 to 40 years, middle age it will be 40 to 60 years, and old age will be more than 60 years. So more than 60 years, the death will whenever it is possible, then it will occur. Okay, so what we have called here is as prenatal period. Okay, so that prenatal period, what you are seeing over here, it is again divided into 3 types. So one is pre-implantation period. So what is pre-implantation period means? It is also called as pre-embryonic period. So pre-implantation period is, it is prior to implantation. Okay, means fertilization is occurred, and from fallopian tube it has to move to uterus and it has to attach to endometrial layer. So from fertilization up to implantation, that period will be called as pre-implantation period. So after pre-implantation period, embryonic period will come. So embryonic period, and after embryonic period, so the fetal period will come, as you have seen in the diagram also. Okay, so again, what is pre-implantation period? So pre-implantation period is having again such periods like fertilization period, whenever the fusion and male and female gamete occurs, and cleavage, a series of mitotic divisions of zygote resulting in the formation of morula, is called as cleavage. And third one is transportation of cleavage zygote. So that cleaving zygote, whatever is there, so it will transported to uterus through the fallopian tube. And next one is blastocyst. Blastocyst is structural and functional specialization and reorganization of cells of cleaving zygote. And next one is implantation. So process of attachment of blastocyst to the uterine endometrium is called as implantation. Again, specialization of the primordial embryonic tissue. So it involves specialization of blastomeres to form embryonic structures like embryoblast, supportive nutritive structures like trophoblast, and again differentiation of embryoblast will take place to form the primitive two layers. One is bilaminar germ disc having ectoderm and endoderm. Okay, endoderm and ectoderm are germ disc. So differentiation of trophoblast into cytotrophoblast and syncytotrophoblast also will take place in the pre-implantation period only. So next comes embryonic period. So it extends from 3rd week of intrauterine life to 8th week. So I have discussed in the diagram also. So embryonic period extends from 3rd week to intrauterine life of 8th week. So here what happens, the following morphogenetic events take place during this period. This is trilaminar germ disc differentiation. So it is important, formation of 3-layered germ disc will appear here, and like appearance of mesoderm will take place in between ectoderm and endoderm. Okay, so whatever differentiation of embryoblast you have seen in pre-embryonic period, so bilaminar germ disc will produce, that is ectoderm and endoderm. So in embryonic period, between ectoderm and endoderm, mesoderm will appear. So totally 3 germ disc will completely form. So early organogenesis will take place in embryonic period. Formation of primordia of various organs like lungs, heart, liver, etc. will produce. Again, formation of extra embryonic supportive organs and membranes like placenta, umbilical cord, amnion, allantois. This will be produced in the embryonic period. So again, 3rd period comes as fetal period. So fetal period is, it extends from 9th week to 9 month, as we have already discussed. The period includes the following: growth of the fetus in the dimensions, specialization of the various body structures. So postnatal period of the development, you have seen that it will be a neonatal period, it will be infancy, childhood, and again puberty, adolescence, adulthood, middle age, old age. So these we have discussed in diagram also. Okay, so what is embryology? So we have already discussed, it is the science that deals with the process and regulation of the prenatal growth and development of an organism individual in the female genital tract. Okay, it starts from the fertilization in the fallopian tube. I think it is clear. So now, so here this point is important. We will go to stem cells. Stem cells are undifferentiated cells that are capable of giving rise to more number of cells of same type by replication, from which some other kind of cell arise by differentiation. Okay, so these are undifferentiated cells and having potency to give rise to other kind of cells. So they are of 2 types. One is embryonic and one is somatic or adult one. So embryonic stem cells are present during embryonic development. Adult stem cells are formed during embryonic development that are tissue specific and remain so throughout the life of an individual. They are the basis for formation of a tissue and an organ in the body. They have the capacity of self-renewal and differentiation. You keep in mind, this is important point. The stem cells are having capacity of self-renewal and differentiation. Stem cells are classified depending upon their potency, that is cell potency, to differentiate into different cell types. Okay, so that cells, what are the cells are there? That is totipotent cell, pluripotent cell, multipotent cells, oligopotent cells, and unipotent cells. And what are the totipotent cells? They can form all the cell types in the embryo in addition to extra embryonic or placental cells. Okay, and pluripotent, like example for totipotent, you can see zygote or early blastomeres. For pluripotent, it can give rise to all of the cell types that make up the body. So embryonic stem cells are considered pluripotent, like inner cell mass. So multipotent are, they can develop into more than one cell type. So the name itself shows that multipotent. So they can develop into more than one cell type also. They are example are adult stem cells like mesenchymal cells. And again, oligopotent. It can develop into cells of one category only. Oligo means it, the name denotes that it may only one category. So examples are like vascular stem cells, smooth muscle, lymphoid or myeloid stem cells. And unipotent are, it can develop into only one type of cell, that is liver cell or muscle cell. So here in this diagram you can see that sperm and ovum, whenever they fuse, and they will form zygote. So here zygote, it is called as totipotent cells, and again it will form, zygote will convert into embryoblast, so it is pluripotent cell. And again, so multipotent cells are ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm, whatever we have discussed earlier, like trilaminar germ disc. So you can see in diagram also. And again this will go for neuronal stem cells, that is oligopotent in nature, and again it will change into muscle cells, that is unipotent. So the classification of the stem cells you can see, and the capacity to differentiation also it is written over here. So I think I have told you, so there is no need of discussion now. So we will go to genetics and molecular biology in embryology. So genetics, what is genetics actually? So genetics is a branch of biology that deals with transmission of inherited characters from parent to offsprings at the time of fertilization. Some of the character or traits are dominant and some are the recessive. So character of the parents are there, whatever are the characters in parents are there, they are transmitted to their generation or offsprings. Offsprings is called as new coming generation. So through codes born on strands of the DNA. So DNA is having some type of strands, we will discuss on next class. So genes are made up of such strands of DNA. They are located on the chromosomes. Different forms of each gene are called as alleles. Okay, so there are typical cell contains 46 chromosome in diploid number. Diploid means 23 into 2. So a gamete contains 23 chromosomes. So gamete we have discussed earlier only. So a gamete contains, in human body we are discussing that it is containing 23 chromosomes in haploid number. Haploid is singular and diploid is 2x. So the diploid number of chromosomes is again 23 into 2 is 46, and it is a result of fertilization. Whenever fusion of male gamete and female gamete takes place, so it will be 23 plus 23, it will become 46. So the 46 chromosome in each cell can be divided into 44 autosomes plus 2 sex chromosomes. So sex chromosomes are XX or XY, so we will discuss in next points. So you just take in mind that 44 are autosomes and 2 sex are 2 sexual chromosomes are there. So whatever the sexual chromosomes are there, they are XXY in female and XY in male. So multiplication of cells takes place by self division only. So embryology includes development, differentiation, morphogenetic processes and controlled growth. So the processes are controlled by genes. Most of these genes produce transcription factors that control transcription of RNA also. Okay, so what is karyotyping? Karyotyping is the process by which chromosomes can be classified individually, and sex chromatin is the small dark staining condensed mass of inactivated X chromosome within the nucleus of non-dividing cell. So sex chromatin is the small dark staining condensed mass of inactivated X chromosome. So you just understand the thing. And genetic basis of development anatomy. So what are the genes and what is DNA? So inheritance of characters. So I think we will go directly to the gene only. So what is gene? So genes are the carriers of blueprints for formation of cells, tissues, organs and organism. So gene are made up of a nucleic acid called deoxyribonucleic acid. So that is DNA, and all information is stored in the molecules of the substance. So genes are strung together to form structure containing long chains of DNA known as chromosomes. Genes are involved in the synthesis of proteins. So proteins are the most important constituents of our body. Okay, and the nature and function of cell depend on the protein synthesis. And it is therefore not surprising that one cell differs from another because of the differences in the proteins that are constituting the DNA. Okay, so these are the some of the genes points. What are genes? And as we have discussed that DNA is the basic structure. And what is a DNA again? So each of the 100 trillion cells in our body except the red blood cells contain the genetic information, what we have called is that blueprint in gene definition. So 100 trillion cells, you can imagine that such much of a big number, and they are having the genetic information. The only thing is that RBCs are not having that blueprint. Okay, so it is the DNA that contains the entire genetic code for almost every organism and provides template for protein synthesis. Watson and Crick in 1953 described the structure of DNA. So DNA, you can see the double helix is this seen in the diagram. So it is just like a standard chartered bank, what is the logo is there. So you can see that it is same the logo, only the thing is ATCGTA or this thing are written in this. So the simple thing, and I think you have studied in your PUC class and all. So there are two strands of DNA fiber joined together by the linkage of a base on one strand with a base on the opposite strand. So you can see what is written like ATCGGC. So this we will discuss in next points. Okay, so you see over here, so what is the linkage of two chains of nucleolus to the from part of a DNA molecule? So it is written as A to T, G to C, T to A, C to G. So this is a sequel. So you see, right, every protein is made up of series of amino acids. The nature of protein depending upon the amino acids present the sequence in which they are arranged. Amino acids may be obtained from food or may be synthesized within the cell. Okay, so under the influence of DNA, these amino acids are linked together in a particular sequence to form proteins. So next, so now we will discuss about, so I will tell you these things A, D and GC what is there. So I will just go to ribonucleic acid, that is called RNA. So in addition to DNA, cells contain another important nucleic acid that is called RNA. So the structure of a molecule of RNA corresponds fairly closely to that of one strand of a DNA molecule with the following important differences. So what is the difference between RNA and DNA? So RNA is a fairly closely to that of one strand of a DNA molecule. So single strand what is there you are seeing. So RNA is corresponding to that one. Only the difference between that is RNA contains the sugar ribose instead of deoxyribose, and instead of the base thymine. So whatever you are seeing over there T, so it denotes thymine. So instead of base thymine, it contains uracil. So in place of T, we will put as U in RNA. So ribonucleic acid is present both in the nucleus and in the cytoplasm of a cell. It is present in three main forms: messenger RNA, transfer RNA, and ribosomal RNA. So messenger RNA we will small m we will write, and RNA transfer RNA we will write it as tRNA, and for messenger RNA okay, so messenger RNA is mRNA, tRNA, and last one is ribosomal RNA. So it will be rRNA. Okay, so messenger RNA acts as an intermediary between the DNA of the chromosome and the amino acids present in the cytoplasm and play a vital role in the synthesis of proteins from amino acids. Okay, so now we will go to the points how the synthesis of protein takes place. So a protein is made up of amino acids that are linked together in definite sequence. The sequence is determined by the order in which the bases are arranged in a strand of DNA. So each amino acid is represented by the DNA molecule by a sequence of 3 bases. Triplet code, it is called a triplet code. The 4 bases in DNA are represented by first letter as adenine is called as A. So I told you that I will just discuss this A, T, what is this. So A here denotes as adenine, C denotes as cytosine, T denotes as thymine, and guanine denotes as G. So they are arranged in a various combinations so that as much as 64 code words can be formed from these 4 bases. So we can make as 64 codes from these 4 bases. Okay, so you keep in mind these things. And okay, so I think for your particularly for you, so components required for a expression of a gene you can see here. So several components are required for the gene expression, like growth factors, receptors, activation of signal transducing proteins, and activation of transcription factor. You just keep in mind. So it will be sufficient for you. And so now we will directly move to chromosomes. So what is chromosome? So chromosomes are again haploid and diploid chromosomes. The number of chromosomes in each cell is fixed for a given species. In an human beings it is 46. Okay, and this is referred as the diploid number, means double number. So whenever it is in single, that it will be called as haploid number, and that will be 23 in number, means half of 46. So after fertilization, the resulting zygote has 23 chromosomes from the sperm and 23 from the ovum. So 23 plus 23, it will make it a diploid number. So it will be 46. In that 44 are autosomes and 22 sex chromosomes will be there. So what is the chromosome structure? You can see in a resting cell, chromosomes are not visible under a light microscope as their chromatin material is highly dispersed. So, however, during cell division, the chromatin network in the nucleus becomes condensed into a number of chromosomes. The appearance of a typical chromosome is, you can see here in a diagram. So, you see satellite, you can see over here, secondary constriction you can see, short arm of chromatid you can see, and centromere you can see at the center, and long arm of the chromatid. So you can see short arm and long arm are two, in both which is connecting it is centromere, so it will be called as center point. And satellite you can see, after satellite layer little bit constriction is there, so this is called secondary constriction. This is the diagram of a typical chromosome. Okay, so so if it is possible, just you also go through these points, and whatever I have told you, that A, T, C, G, G, C. So I think this is sufficient for this. And now we will move to karyotyping. So it is the procedure by which chromosomes can be mapped individually. So you just read the term, what is karyotyping? Okay, so karyotyping is the procedure by which chromosomes can be mapped individually in an individual by applying the criteria which is described below. You see, for this purpose, a sample of blood from the individual is put into a suitable medium in which lymphocytes can multiply in number. So after a few hours, a drug colchicine, okay, it is cap put over that, and it arrests the cell division at a stage when chromosomes are more distinct is added to the medium. Okay, and the dividing cells are then treated with hypotonic saline so that they swell up, and this facilitates the proper spreading out of chromosomes. A suspension containing divided cells is spread out on a slide and suitably strained, and cells in which the chromosomes are well spread out are photographed. So photographs are cut out and chromosomes arranged in proper sequence. In this way, a map of chromosome is obtained, and abnormalities in their number or form can be identified. So in many cases, specific chromosomal abnormalities can be correlated with a specific disease. So karyotyping, how it has to be done, I don't know that it is of your use, but at least the term what is karyotyping. So it is a procedure by which chromosomes can be mapped individually. Okay, so it can be seen that quantity or quality, how it is, structure is same or not, or structure is anything different. So for to know the chromosomal abnormalities, we have to do this. So for this purpose, what we have to do, we have to draw the sample of the patient, and we have to mix it with colchicine, a drug is called. So at that time, whenever cell division at a stage, and after dividing cells, the hypotonic saline is put in that. By that it will bulge inside, because hypotonic solution will due to this it's a physical chemical composition, so it will absorb the hypotonic solution in that, and it will just bulge out, and it will be easy for taking photographs or to count them or to know their normal structure or what is the abnormal structure of a chromosome. So this is called as karyotyping. So this is about karyotyping of chromosome. And sex chromatin I have told you. So sex chromatin, what is sex chromatin? So it is a small dark staining condensed mass of inactivated X chromosomes within the nucleus of non-dividing cells. So during interphase, so there will be a small dark staining condensed mass of inactivated X chromosome within the nucleus only. Okay, so usually located just inside the nuclear membrane of the interphase nucleus. So present in the most females in the, especially in mammals. So female mammals in the nuclei of all cells except the germ cells. Okay, so this is sex chromatin, and it is of two dissimilar structures. One is bar body and one is drumstick Davidson body. So what is bar body? Bar body is present in epithelial, oral, skin, vaginal and urethral, corneal and other tissues like placenta, dental pulp, skin fibrosis, and drumstick bodies are in polymorphonuclear leukocytes. So a study of sex chromatin is a relatively simple diagnostic test for certain genetic abnormalities. Okay, so what is bar body? Bar bodies are most commonly studied at the periphery of the nucleus, and sex differentiation is done by this. Male are having 1 to 2% of bar bodies and females are having 20 to 80% of bar bodies. So in measurement of the bar body will be approximately 1 micrometer, and bar bodies are having several distinct shapes like plano-convex, wedge shape and rectangular in shape. So maximum number of bar bodies per nucleus may be 0 or 1. Okay, maximum number of bar bodies in the diploid cells may be equal to number of the X chromosomes minus 1. Okay, so in tetraploids it is 2 less than the number of X chromosome and the octaploids. So I think this is of no use. Only you keep in mind that bar bodies are practically for sex differentiation. Mainly males it will be 1 to 2% and females it will be around 20 to 80%, and these are situated at the periphery of the nucleus, and they are having approximately 1 micrometer size, and shape may be plano-convex, wedge shape or rectangular in shape. So this is sufficient. And what is drumstick body? So drumstick body, you can see the diagram also. I will show you here. So these are the bar bodies in buccal smear and drumstick in the neutrophil. Okay, so you can see, and drumstick or Davidson body is what is? It appears as a deeply stained body attached to the nucleus of the polymorphonuclear leukocyte. So it consists of head of around 1.5 micrometer in diameter. So just keep in mind and you go through. I think there is no that much of thing for your study purpose. So what are the chromosomal abnormalities? So chromosomal abnormalities are the classified broadly into numerical and structural. So it may be a abnormality in the number of the chromosomes, or it may be in the structural changes. So in each, those involving autosomes and those involving sex chromosomes are included in this. So what is allele? So a normal cell has two variants. For a trait character, a gamete contains one allele. Okay, so one gamete contains one allele. So allele for both B and B, and each gamete will carry one of it, B or B, chosen randomly. So the whatever you are seeing over here, so like both capital B and small b, so these are both one B, small b is one allele and capital B is one allele over here. So abnormalities, what are the abnormalities? Like Down syndrome, Edwards syndrome, Tau syndrome, Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome. So these are the abnormalities of the autosomes. So chromosomes. So Down syndrome, Edwards syndrome, and these three one are autosomal, and Turner's and Klinefelter's are sex chromosomal abnormalities. So I think it is clear to you. So whatever is important for you, we will go to that.